Hi, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. This is me, Sarah Sarate, coming live to you from Idaho, Boise, Idaho. It's been a while. I just took a shower, so my hair is up. Um, I don't expect a lot of people to see this at this very moment because I didn't let anybody know that I was going to go live. However, I'm going to give you a little tiny little update of what has been going on in my life. Um, the one thing that has been going on in my life is that um, last time I mentioned to you guys, I got married, right? And I'm still married. We're gonna go for 6 years. 6 years, yay, six. It's insane. But within those 6 years, a lot of stuff happened, especially what everybody knows has been going on in the news and media and life altogether has changed. Of course, we've all have been hit one way or the other with COVID. I haven't had COVID. My husband has not had have COVID. My child That's another thing I became a mom. Listen, the last time that I spoke to you guys, I had a baby. His name is Jackson. He was born on the 25th of December 2018. Um, he's running around, and I let him run around because really the video is about me giving you info about what's going on. So basically, it hit home COVID. Um, relatives have had it. They're recuperating from it, which is something that I'm glad to be able to say that they're recuperating and that they're not, that I did have a friend of the family, the pastor of the church where I grew up. He passed away. He was in his, I'm gonna say 80s. And, it was a very unfortunate and sad situation for all of us, really, that he had to pass away, but he passed away with complications of COVID. He was a very healthy older gentleman, and it happened, and it's something that I will never forget. It impacted me and my friends and my family and everybody that knew him because it became 100% real. Not that it wasn't, because we all knew, like I was told, and I was like, oh my god, we have to be so careful. I come into the house every single day when I go out to do. Well, I don't go every single day, but when I go out to get the food, the mail, whatever I go do, I always come in and wash my hands, take off the clothes that I was wearing, and I just get dressed with something else, or if I can, I'll take a shower. Yay! Jackson is super excited because he loves to watch Blue's Clues. So Jackson is now 2 years old. He, like I said, was born on the 25th of December in 2018, and he is just the loveliest blessing in my life. He was born premature, and he was born at 24 weeks and 5 days. Jackson also was 1 pound 8 ounces. It's hard to believe that the little kid that you see running around. These are paperwork that I fix. I always have to do this like on a weekly basis, daily basis, whatever it has to get done, it gets done. Um, but yeah, he was born 1 pound 8 ounces, and he was born by C-section. It was super scary because I at one point they told us when he was born that he had some problems with his tummy. Oh, thank you. I don't want this right now, but thank you, love. This is something that I'm gonna throw away. Thank you. So, he was very delicate when babies are born with any, when they're born, not with any, when they're born so early, there's so many complications that at points doctors don't even give you hope. And I know that the light behind me looks weird, but I am in my baby's rocking chair, still have it. But the whole thing is that his his guts and his intestines were not functioning properly, and they were all and they were actually in a way that the doctors entirely were like, listen, if this isn't fixed by itself, there's not going to be any hope for him. he will pass away. And both my husband and I cried because, in all honesty, at the beginning of the marriage, um, it was very complicated because at one point I was pregnant, and then I lost that baby. I bled out, and I remember I was like, "Oh my God, that's so scary." Went to the hospital. They cleaned me, and then I went to the doctor the next day. Spoke to my gynecologist, and she said, "Oh, this is you have PCOS." I had heard about PCOS, but I wasn't sure what it was. So when she explained that PCOS was basically a lot of my ovaries, and to the point that like if I wanted to go through, it was not going to possibly happen. I was just like, whoa, that's sad. And I told my husband, and we both cried when we lost the first baby, and we both were like, well, if it's God's will, we're gonna have another one. Lo and behold, thank God, Jackson came along. Yes, he came along super early, but I'm sorry, super early. Because he was due in April. His due date was supposed to be on the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, what happened was that I woke up on the 25th, like around like 3 in the morning or something like that, like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I felt like, because throughout my entire pregnancy, you guys, the entire pregnancy, I felt like my entire uterus like stretching out. So I was just like, whoa, this is weird. And I spoke to my doctor about it. I spoke to the gynecologist about it, and all of them agreed that I was super sensitive to feeling every single thing inside of me like stretch. So that was bizarre, but I understood it, and I was like, yeah, my baby's growing and everything's going all right. At one point or the other, what happened was that I woke up at like 3 or 4 in the morning on the 25th of December 2018, and I went to the bathroom, and I would go to sleep with a pad because basically I would talk, I would sneeze, I would cough, whatever it was, and I would pee. Then I was like, no way, man. I'm gonna get underwear dirty. So we put a pad on. So when I went to check the pad, there, lo and behold, there was blood, and I was like, oh my God. So at that moment, my dad had been here because he was staying with me over the holidays. And so he woke up, and I told him, Dad, we need to go to the hospital. And my little old man, because my dad's officially 87, he's in his 80s, let's say. And the whole thing was that he goes, honey, let me brush my hair and I'll be right there. And I'm like, Dad, nobody's going to look at your hair. It was hilarious because he was like, but I need to brush my hair. So he brushed his 3 hairs, and we were on our way. And I remember just like being like, okay, they're gonna tell me that they could help me and everything, so on and so forth. And they took me into the labor and delivery floor, and that is where they tried to give me medicine to stop the baby from coming. And Jackson was like, I am not having it. I am getting out of here. You know, it happened. So at that point, um, they gave me some medicine, and I started losing more of the amniotic fluid. And at one point, I remember just like, everything that I'm telling you is TMI, right? But like this one specific thing that happened was that they would come and check me, and I would be like, okay, at one point, one day, it felt like they cut me, and I was like, and I screamed, and I go, ah, like that, and they're like, oh my God, are you okay? And I said, no, that really hurt, that burned, like that really wasn't right. And so they were like, okay, they were not like whatever about it, but they were like, okay, we get it. So they continued telling me that they wanted me to be in the hospital for 1 week just to hold off, that everything was going to be okay, and the medicine was going to work, and I was going to be fine. And they later on put my feet up, and my body was like back, and my feet were up in the sky. And I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna like freaking fall. But they cured me and everything, and then also because of the weight of my body and my baby in my body and everything. So everything's like this. I couldn't breathe. Like this area was getting blocked, and so was my everything down in the breathing canals and such. And so I was just like, hey, listen, I can't breathe. And they're like, okay. So they put a little breathing tube on, and that was fine. After maybe like an hour or so, I think it was like maybe 8 in the morning, where basically I told them, hey, listen, I told the nurse, and I said, listen, I don't necessarily feel good. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, I don't know if there's any way that you could get me down from this because I need to go poo. And she was like, oh, really? I'm like, I don't need to go pee. I just really feel like I need to go poo. I know. That's like the uh, to me it was like normal. I need to go to the bathroom. Let me down, right? And then they were like, listen, give us a second. And I was like confused. And that's when I heard her call the doctor. And she, hey, doctor, blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna name their names. Um, Mrs. Sahabe says she needs to go poop. And I was like, does the doctor really need to know this? So, um, maybe like a minute later, it felt like it was super quick. Like 10 people came in, my doctor, my OBGYN, an assistant doctor, some nurses, some people that I was like, who are you? You know, like maybe there were students, I don't know. But like 10 people came into the room and I was like, what's going on, right? Okay, so that's when the doctor said, remember when we spoke earlier? Oh, because he did speak to me earlier, and he said that if it was necessary, that within a week we would have to take the baby out with a C-section. And I said, that's fine. So when he said, do you remember when we spoke and I told you that we probably would have to do a C-section? And I said, yes. I was like really calm. And he goes, well, let me double check how he's doing inside because everybody knew that he was a boy already. So he does an ultrasound right next to the bedside, and he does the ultrasound and he sees something that was alarming to him. I couldn't see what the heck he was talking about until he turned the screen towards me, and at that point he turns the screen towards me and says, "There's no liquid in our baby anymore, so we're definitely going to have to do a C-section. However, I need to ask you this because it's what you need to ask. Do you want us to save his life?" And I was like, of course. Um, do you want us to save your life? And I said, of course. I want to live. I want him to live. I want both of us to live because I don't think I would be able to live without him. And he wouldn't be able to live without me. And he would just have his dad. And I can't. So please try to save both of us. To which the doctor did smile and he said, that's what I wanted to hear. Let's go for it. And I said, okay, go for it. Go for it. And he goes, let's do the C-section. And so maybe they put me within like 10, 15 minutes. And I had heard about C-sections. I had seen the C-sections done on video and whatever because I was trying to find out what was going to probably happen if I was induced. Because I no, if I was supposed to be induced in April when he was supposed to be born. So they were either gonna do a vaginal birth or a C-section. Sorry, my mouth dry. So I got to this one beautiful, like, bright room, and I could see the table, and I could see, the lamps and the nurses and the people ready with the little crib and everything. And I just remember at that moment, I was a tiny bit scared. I was just like, whoa, you know? And they reassured me and they told me what to do. And, I just remember holding the pillow and I remember feeling something cold. And then I remember feeling something go in my spine, but I wasn't like, it wasn't painful. Thank goodness. And then all of a sudden I was like, they're like pinching me and poking me or whatever. And I just remember going into this one bed. They helped me get into the bed. And at that point, I remember feeling the sensation of like something going across my tummy, like not my tummy, but the area where they do the C-section. But I didn't feel like the pain, thank God, right? And I just remember like they, they had everybody like doing everything. There was like so many. I didn't understand why there were so many people. I mean, I get it, it's a C-section, but at the same time, in the videos that you see, you don't see all these bunch of people. But I was a complicated um, pregnancy because of my age. Um, and so I was just like, and because I'm big, my weight, and I'm diabetic. Sorry, you guys, I forgot to mention that. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I'm diabetic, and my age and my weight and all these things. I was just like, okay. At that time, I had lost like a substantial amount of weight, but still, it was very, very scary. Anyhow, um, lo and behold, they're like taking out the baby, and everything had to be calculated at this specific point. And at one point, I remember them saying, "Are you ready for the placenta?" And they're like, "Yes, ready." Is it intact? And they're like, "Yes, it is." And I remember them cheering. They were like, "Oh, good!" And so they took out my placenta, and I don't know what. I have to be honest. I don't know what they used it for. From what I understand, they still keep it on with the baby for a while, but I cannot give you that information of what exactly, how long, or what for. But it helps the baby at this point, especially because he was so small, 1 pound 8 ounces. And I just remember just going, "Oh my God." I heard him cry, and it wasn't like, "Wah!" And it was like, it sounded like a kitty cat. It sounded like, "Eh." And I tell the anesthesiologist, I go, "That's my baby." And she goes, "Yeah." And I go, and the first thing that I remember, like throughout this whole ordeal, while they were, giving me the shot to numb me up, the epidural, all that jazz, and they lay me down and they were cutting me open, and I remember, it was so weird. The one thing I remember was that Oceans, song Oceans from Hillsong, kept on playing in my head, and I sang that to my child when I heard his voice. And I don't want to get emotional because um, it's not a sad thing; it's a happy thing. But thank God, and I will always continue to thank God for all the things that I need to do and He will do. They told me he was gonna have cerebral palsy. Um, well, the first thing was the stomach thing, the stomach and the guts and all that stuff. They said that he was not gonna be able to like survive, but he did. He had a murmur. He was gonna have cerebral palsy. He was not gonna be able to walk. He was gonna be blind and probably be deaf. So all these things that they said, little by little, he demonstrated to them. He demonstrated to them that they were wrong. I remember a lot of people tell me that they say these things. I mean, in this case, they were possibilities, but they kept on telling me and reassuring me that like they have to say these things because they don't want you to like have high hopes and then say, "Well, you said this and you said that," And I understand because um, I would have been very angry if my child would have been like with all these situations and they would have not told me. But with the fair warning, especially with the baby probably dying. I was very ready for him to pass away if that was the case. But once again, I thank God because this little boy is now 2 years old, and we're living in a time where it's really complicated because it's like we stay home every day, every hour of the day we're here. We probably go up and down the stairs for a minute to just get some exercise. It's been really cold today. It's a beautiful day, but it's been really cold, so I haven't been able to go for an actual walk around the neighborhood. It's safe to do that. You take your mask, you take your hand sanitizer, and you see somebody, if they're at a distance, cool, and if they're crossing across from you, you're fine. And you're not gonna interact with any. I don't. I am gonna be honest with you. With all of this going on, I don't interact with anybody. I FaceTime my mom, my niece, my sister, my nephew, my neighbor, and I. We talk here and there. I probably been over to her house twice for one occasion or two, but it wasn't where a bunch of people were contaminated. There was really never anybody there. It's just her and her dog and her son. Um, we've been in the house almost all the time, and I say almost all the time because there'll be occasions where we go to the supermarket or the doctor or the pharmacy, or we need to go get some stuff at Walmart because I am one person that I cannot afford to pay for delivery for stuff. I can't. I don't have the money for that. I have money to buy my stuff, to pay my bills, to pay my rent, and go out and buy the foods that we need to cook here at the house. I have had delivery. I've had places deliver food at that kind of rates, but most of the time it's me cooking here in the house, me making breakfast, lunch, and dinner, keeping up some snacks for Jackson. My husband works sometimes. 1 month he works in the daytime, 1 month he works in the nighttime. He works for a dairy company. And a lot of you know how those things work, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, I'll explain it really quickly. In this particular dairy farm, I don't necessarily know that every single dairy farms work this way. And in this particular dairy farm, my husband does 1 month daytime and 1 month nighttime. And this goes on throughout the year. Um, there is approximately 5 to 6 workers at all times, and they're never close enough to even intertwine. They'll probably cross each other, but that's about it. So on his when it's the month of whatever, let's say it's January. Oh, we are in January. So they started the month of January, and his shift and his people are basically um now at this point home in the daytime, but they are working at nighttime, and they switch it off on the day that they're off. So eventually, at one point, there's somebody still from the other shift, and so on and so forth. And then eventually, they all are together again, but obviously separate. That's a good thing for us because he is considered an essential worker because his job requires this movement of milking the cows 24/7. Um, and it's our bread and butter, And yes, he comes home with stinky pants and clothes because cow manure gets everywhere. Um, it's smelly, but once again, it's our bread and butter. It pays the rent. It pays the bills. We're happy. We don't have, luxuries. I don't feel that we do. I think the only luxury we have is our filter for the water. I'm like, ooh, we have to get a filter for the baby because his water was had to be filtered and clean. And we were using bottled water, which is something that we were using regardless because we have to buy it for his job because he has to take water with him. But with the filter, it has just it's better. Um, anyhow, just a little tiny update. I know I gave you a lot, but it's just a tiny update of what's going on in my life and what has happened. Like I said, I and my child are home every single day. Yes, we go to the supermarket, but only when Daddy comes home. We'll do our errands on the day that my husband's off, which is mostly Tuesdays. And I'm glad that we're in 2021 now. We have a new president. We're getting more information about COVID and any other diseases too, because they're discovering so many things about cancer and such. Oh my God, so many people that I've known and met throughout the years that have had cancer. Let's keep them in our prayers. And if you could donate to those places, then, donate to find a cause and a help and whatnot, because there's so many diseases out there that you don't even know, right? But I'm not trying to advocate for those things for that. All I'm just trying to do is tell you what's up. And I'm just gonna finish getting ready because I need to finish dinner and do some more laundry because my day consists of laundry every single day, cooking and cleaning and moving and grooving, shaking and baking. I bake now. Not something crazy. Cookies here and there, and maybe a box cake or whatever, or bread. But I'm having a good life. And I want you guys to have a good life, a blessed life, a life of possibilities and positivity. There will be moments where you and I or us or whoever is around us is having a bad time, a bad moment, they're sick or they're dying or whatever it may be. Let us be supportive of each other, love each other, and bless each other. And try as well as you can to help. Be the good person. Be the person that you are capable to be. Okay? I will talk to all of you later. All of this was a little, not complicated. It was just like a tidbit. I don't think I'm gonna elaborate on a lot of things right at this very moment. If you guys have any questions, leave your comments below and I will try to read them as much as I can. It's not a lot of you, but I will try to keep in touch with you. Have a good day and God bless.